Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Into My GT Entertainment, and I am Joel. Nice to see you here on this lovely day, still unemployed and have time on my hands to do a video for you. So today we are going to go into a more informational type video and installing just one part, which is pretty easy to do, but it's different from my car to somebody else's car. So let me show you what we're getting into today and roll that beautiful bean footage. Alright, everybody, so what I am doing today for y'all and for myself is I am upgrading to my other pulley. Right here I have the 3625 pulley, and as you can see right now I have the 375 pulley on my car right now. Now it's gonna add another pound of boost to the car, which is roughly about 20-25 horsepower, maybe if you're lucky. But I'm going to show you how I get my e-mixture also today. It's not really empty, but I got enough room that I can show y'all how to do that. So I have my little trusty little e-tester right here, and I'm going to go through how that works also. And then like I said, I'm going to go ahead and pull this off, move that pulley out, put the new pulley in, and then we'll go to the sheets down the road and test your E to see where we're at, and then I'll show you the app that I use for testing and getting my E to E30 on this car. So excuse me, whoa. We'll go ahead and get that done, and we'll see you in a few. Alright, everyone, so the first thing that you got to do with my car versus Derek's car is to remove this air tube. His is the factory, or the one that comes with the Whipple standard, the rubber one, where this is the VMP one, which is carbon fiber. There is no flex to this at all. As you can see, there's no flex to it when it's in there. So you have to undo the band straps, this one, and this one. And hopefully that'll go ahead and give you the play that you can move this off of everything. And if you end up taking it totally off, which is what I'm probably going to do, don't forget to undo the PCV valve over there, or the dirty side that goes into the inlet tube. I'm using my 8mm little side with it because I don't like using a Torx wrench or a power tool on this part, because I don't want to squeeze this too hard or crack the carbon fiber or whatever craziness could happen. I would just rather do it by hand, and like I said, this is just an area where you don't need to torque it down so much. And then once I get this out the way, I have the pulley down there, and that is a 5mm. I have this tool, and I also have this tool to find out which one makes it easier for me to get in there and do what I got to do. So I'm going to go ahead, get this undone, out the way, and then we'll come back with the pulley. See you in a sec. Okay, with that out of the way, I have it sitting over there in the corner just to make sure I don't damage that. What you need to do is loosen up these bolts first, because the tension of the pulley is what holds it together. So that way you can take those off. And then what you're going to need to do on the actual tensioner from Whipple, there is a slot for a breaker bar. That size, I want to say it's the bigger, I get mixed up with my sizes. So what, a 3/4 socket side. But anyway, there's a slot right here where's you? Where is you? Right here. That you fit that into, and then once you get that in there, you have the motion to move it up and down and get to loosen up the tension. Like I said, 2-person again would be helpful, but it's definitely manageable with a 1-person. So let me go ahead, get that loosened up, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. All right, everyone, so now I got this on the bit. I had to go ahead and switch from my breaker bar to my Torx wrench because this gives me more of a ratchet, so I can put it where I need it to, where the other one, the angle wouldn't work out for me to get the other one to move left and right. So you might run into that, you might not run into that, but that is one thing that is a little different there. And then down here, not that I'm gonna mess with it today per se, but right here, this one, and I know the lighting is pretty bad right now, but anyway, that's adjustable. So let's say you put this on and you still think there's too much slack. Well, that adjusts up and down like this. So you do it with the tension off, you move that pulley up a little, and then you put it back together, and that'll give you more tension. That's how you kind of get away with some of the slack. For this particular pulley and this belt, it should match up fine and shouldn't have no issues. But if you're running into any issues later on with slippage or whatever, I would definitely look into that part of it. But anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and get this off of here, and we'll see where we're at in a second. Okay, I just wanted to show y'all the difference in the 2 pulleys. This is the 7.5. This is the where's the numbers? My fingers are covering them, of course. Right here, the 6.5. So when you're looking at the pulleys themselves, they look very similar, but there is a size difference between the Griptec and the factory one. And it's not so much on the outer side, but the inner side also is a little bit more indented down. And as you can see, there is a little bit of play into it, but it's not too much. It's not too big of a difference. So we'll see how it does. And like you see, I don't know if you could tell, these are Griptec, you know, so it holds on to the belt supposedly better and from the normal one that is right here. Now I've heard with the Griptecs, and I've had it in my old car, it wears out your belts a lot more because it's always got a grip to it versus it being able to slide if it needed to. So don't know how true that is. I never had any problems with my other car, and I ran all sorts of pulleys with that. So go ahead and get this put on. All right, everybody, so I got that put back on, and as you see, the belt is where it needs to be. It's in the grooves. I checked it with the light to make sure that everything was fine, but I still haven't tightened this down. You want to go ahead and tighten it now that you have tension on it, and you can either put Loctite on it or not. I never put Loctite on these. I don't think it even tells you to. It says hand tight, remove, blah, 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 blah. So it doesn't really say anything about putting a Loctite on here. I just torque it down, and it does give you the max specs of 130. So I'll go ahead and torque them down, and we'll be good there. And then we'll put this back together, and then we'll travel to the gas station and get some E. She does sound pretty good, doesn't she? But anyway, now that we got everything tightened back up, just want to make sure that your belt is traveling fine, which it looks like we're good to go there. And that's it with that. Putting this back on, it's a little bit more of a pain than the factory one, just for the fact that there's no flex to it. The only flex you have are in these tubing, so you're gonna have to kind of work it out, you know, one way or the other. And number 2, Whipple, when you paint these things, paint them all the way through, not just where they stop. Because when you go to close them up, now you got silver showing. So nice effort, but you really can't hide these and you make them functional. If you throw them back there, this part still rings up. If you put it down this way, then you can't get to it. So it's kind of, you kind of have to work with it. Maybe I'll go back and spray paint them later. I don't know. But nevertheless, this part of that install is done. Like I said, there wasn't much to it. Hold on, I gotta change my camera. All right, that's better. I had it on for the LED lights where it would show the black line, and it overexpose everything. So anyway, as I was saying, that part of the install is now done. Now we're gonna go ahead and show you how we do E in this. I'll bring y'all along, do what I need to do with testing it. We'll test it, and then we'll go ahead and figure out the calculation and put it in the car. So come take a ride with me, and we'll see you there. All right, everybody, so the first step that you need to do, I would do it at home or bring yourself a water bottle. You have to go and fill water up to that line right there, and then the rest of it you fill up to E, and then you need to wait for it to separate, and you'll find out what your E content is at that pump. Usually ours hits around E70, but it is summertime, so maybe they've jacked it up a little bit. So we'll see where we're at. So let's go take that trip and see where we're doing. All right, everyone, we are here at the gas station. So if you want to know the percentage of gas you have in your car, there's a couple different ways you do it. In these newer cars like this one, or I'm assuming the 18s and up and all that stuff, I don't know if they do or don't, but with the track mode, if you put your car in track mode, let me go ahead and do that for you. Track mode. Right here, you'll see the percentage, wherever it just went, I just hit a button, okay. Right here, you see the percentage of gas you have left. So that is what you have in your tank. On this Mustang, it is a 16-gallon tank. So I know that just by doing this. So we're gonna go ahead and start with 68% on our app, and I'll show you how to use that. Okay, on my app, you'll see at the top 16 gallons. I'm at 68%. I'm going to test my E. It's usually at 70. You always want to put 10 because here, at least in Richmond, you got 10% ethanol in it. My target is E30, and I currently have E30 in it. So this will give me the mix once I figure out what the ethanol content is. So I'll be right back. Okay, now that it's quieter in the car, as you can see, it didn't measure to E85. So yeah, so I had to change my thing a little bit. So with it being E85, I'll show you what I had to do. Okay, with it being E85, again, with 16-gallon tank, now I had to change my ethanol content to E85, and it already has 10% for regular gas. E30 is what I wanted to mix to, and I had currently E30. So you hit calculate, and what it does, it tells you what you need in gallons in E85 and in gallons of 93. So, and actually it was right on the money with both of those. I put in 1.37 and it filled it up at 13.5. So everything is exact for my car, luckily, I guess. So this is the app that I use. Let me get back to it here. Nothing's working the way it needs to today. All right, it is let me see if I can focus a little better on that. It doesn't focus that good on the phone, but it's E85 blend, and that's on the App Store. I believe they have it for both. So yeah, that's what we got. So we'll go ahead and finish up in here, and then be headed home. All right, everybody, so that is how I measure E in my car. Like I said, once you already have E in there, you just keep it as what you have it, and then you just adjust as you go. So if you're at a half a tank or a quarter of a tank, or however it goes, and however your math works with it, that's how you figure out. And there's many apps like that, but like I said, that one seems to work for me pretty good. I haven't had an issue with it. You can tell the car is running great on it. So like I said, not a problem in the world with it. So like I said, smaller pulley now, E still. And the good thing about doing the E30, so let's say you're traveling and there's no E anywhere, and you don't want to deal with that stuff. You could just throw 93 back in it. You don't have to, you know, deal with up to 91 to 93. So depending where you are with gas. Like I said, we have 93 and E, and all that's readily available here, so that's what I use. So when I'm traveling, you know, if there's a 91 is the highest you get, I guess that's how the West Coast is or whatever, then, you know, that's what you kind of deal with. But for the most part, that is this video. I'm going to finish it up at home, but like I said, I just wanted to do a little, I guess, informal install, and, you know, show you how I do E in this car, because a lot of people do ask how you blend it and this, that, and the other, and, you know, there's a lot of stuff out there, but I just wanted to touch base with my fan base and let y'all know how I did it. So gonna head home. We'll close out this video. See you in a few. I can't really do any pulls in the car today because I got no way to hold the camera, so I can tell you about it, but that's about it. Once I get myself squared away, I'll throw the camera up in here and we'll go have some fun, and I'll show you what the car can do. See you in a bit. All right, everybody, we are back at the homestead, and it looks like everything is fine, so we are good to go. I did give it a good punch coming down my street. It kind of like hesitated for a second, then took off, so I don't know if it was just spinning and then gripped. So like I said, have to kind of see about that a little bit, but there's no weird wear on the belt or like a slippage mark or anything that I could see. Everything seems to be buttoned up pretty tight. I did notice there's some stuff I need to clean some when we did the install back over there, but you know, I'll get around to it. And I'm seeing, and I guess it might be because it's a new belt and it's just getting used to its trail, but these like black, I don't know, you could wipe it off, but like I said, it might be on everybody's, and you know, if you got a black hooded one, you don't see it as much as a painted one. So I don't know, so we're gonna have to keep an eye on that too. But for the most part, that is the video. That is the pulley install. That is how you do the E85 in my car. At least that's how I do it. If y'all have a better way, hit me up and let me know. If not, you know, we'll keep on trucking. Don't know what the next video is going to be, but I just wanted to get y'all something out. And like I said, I was here. It was kind of a overcast day, but not raining yet, so I thought I would put something out for y'all. So drop in the comments and we'll catch you on the next one.